The sixth seal is the wrath of the Lamb, and this starts in 66 AD, whenever the armies come to Israel to destroy them. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come. Who shall be able to stand? If you go read the prophets, whenever it talks about the mountains and islands fleeing away, it is talking about the people that lived on the mountains and the people that lived on the islands fleeing away, not the actual mountains. Or why would it say the mountains and islands fled away, and then next it says they hid themselves in the mountains? Now we know that the wrath of the Lamb happened in their generation back then, because whenever Jesus was going to the cross, it says the daughters of Jerusalem were following him and weeping for him. And he turned to the daughters of Jerusalem and said, Weep not for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children. Remember, he said the Holy Spirit would be given to them and to their children, right? And that all this would happen in that generation. He said, Weep for yourselves, because there's coming a day whenever you shall cry for the mountains and rocks to fall on you and to cover you. And then said, Blessed are they which do not give suck, or have children in those days. And he said, and pray that your flight be not in winter for the believers, because they were to get out of Judea. Whenever we get to chapter 12, I will explain to you how the sun becoming black as sackcloth of hair and the moon becoming blood is actual spiritual, talking about Israel, because she's a woman clothed with the sun and the moon is under her feet. So whenever they're destroyed, blood runs down off of Israel. She's no longer the light of the world like she was. So she's black as sackcloth of hair, and the blood runs down off of Israel onto the moon. And this is also whenever Satan is cast down. Jesus and Satan did not rule at the same time. Whenever Jesus died, he was the lamb slain before the throne. They overcame Satan by the blood of the lamb and the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. But whenever he opens the sixth seal, he sits down on the throne of God. It said, Hide us from the wrath of Lamb, he who sits on the throne. As Jesus said, whenever he returned in his kingdom with all of his holy angels with him, then he would sit on the throne.